Welcome back to CryptosRus. I am George. We're all George. So welcome to another market open stream. Today we have some breaking news. Coinbase is allowed to list Bitcoin and Ethereum futures. Very first exchange allowed to do this. And this has major repercussions in terms of the regulatory landscape in the US. So this is absolutely huge. Let's talk about it. But also there's a little bit of weakness today. What's going on with that? Let's talk about that as well. All right, let's do this. Welcome, guys. Good morning. US is not looking so good today, but it could flip, though. It could flip, and here's why. You can see right now everything is in a red. People are waiting, okay, for this nasty Fed minute. It's actually not nasty at all, but I'm just saying, whenever there's a Fed minutes that is set to release, the market somehow stalls or turns a little red because they're afraid that the FOMC meeting that we had not too long ago last month, behind closed doors, there were more said, right? That's what people are afraid of. For example, people are looking for whether or not Powell and his buddies are hinting at another rate hike that's coming up next month, right? So that's what people are waiting for. So this has the market kind of stalled today. But also something else that is kind of spooking the market is this. Target, which is one of the biggest retailers that we have in the U.S., slashes a full year forecast as retailer struggles to win over thrifty shoppers. What does this mean? Well, that just means that people are not shopping nearly as much as before. That's it. People are, being more frugal and just saving and staying at home and not shopping at Target nearly as much as before, right? So that's all that really means, but this is also scaring people a little bit because there are still some people that think that the U.S. will go into deep recession and the economy is going to become much worse. I mean, there are a group of people that think that. But you know what? I think it's a bit premature to make that assessment right now. But I think this is these two reasons are why, market's kind of weak right now. Also for crypto, Bitcoin went down slightly, still holding above 29,000. You can see down about 1%. Ethereum is down about 1%. But outside the big two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I'm going to get to the Coinbase news soon. Outside of big two, I noticed, today for altcoins, not so good. XRP down 5%, Doge down 6%, Solana down 7%, Polygon down almost 8%, SHIB even. Shibarium, I got some Shibarium news for you guys, down about 6%. So today for altcoins, outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is still nearly flat, there's some weakness. I don't really know why. There's really no reason. There's one thing, though. There's one new coin that's pumping. Maybe all the money is being withdrawn to put into this one coin. And I'll talk about that, too. But overall, I think today, everyone's waiting for this Fed minutes to come out. Now, what do I think is going to be said in there? I think it's just go repeat what Powell said. Basically, before deciding on a next rate hike, whether there will be one or not, they have to digest more data, right? Like CPI data. We had one this month. We'll have one next month beforehand, and all the other economic data. They will take all that into account before deciding. I think that's all that's going to be said. I don't know what else could be said in there. That's it. That's really it. But let's move on. Let's talk about this. This is actually pretty big and breaking news. Coinbase granted permission to offer Bitcoin futures in the U.S. And at first glance, you're like, this is not a big deal. But if you dig deeper, you'll realize this is actually a big deal. Here's why. A lot of you guys, first of all, have gotten used to using exchange overseas outside of U.S. that offers leverage, right? And sometimes the leverage is crazy. Goes up to 125x leverage. How do these exchanges offer leverage? Using futures, okay? So this will allow Coinbase, first of all, to become the very first U.S.-based exchange to offer derivatives and offer leverage. You know why? Because there are Bitcoin futures that are now 2x. Pretty soon, there may be a 3x. And pretty soon, there may be a 5x. And Ethereum ETFs are also coming. So one of the major things is that Coinbase will be allowed to offer leverage in the US by using futures, right? So that's number one. That's actually pretty big. Not to say that futures or leverage is a good thing, but there are many traders that love it. They require it to make their daily gains, right? So that's number one. And I think that really gives Coinbase a leg up on everyone else in the United States. And number two is that this was granted by the CFTC. CFTC is the governing body or agency that controls commodities, right? So that's why futures is considered like a commodities trading, not security trading. So that's why they allow this. So they approve this, and basically they're doing this to I don't know, not only to give Coinbase permission, but giving a big middle finger to the SEC, because the SEC is still trying to contend. I don't know. The SEC is still trying to throw their weight around, basically saying everything is security, right? Including Ethereum. Even though they don't flat out come out and say, we're going to sue Ethereum, they have hinted many times that Ethereum itself is security. But by doing this, basically, CFTC is like, I don't care about you, Gary. We think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are commodities, right? And we're just going to treat them as commodities. So this basically takes power away from Gary. By allowing Ethereum futures and just allowing Ethereum in general to be controlled by CFTC is basically saying it's 100% a commodity. So this whole notion that it's a security and all this stuff goes out the window. So that's also pretty important as well. So basically, this is pretty big on a couple fronts. It's going to give Coinbase a huge advantage in the U.S., okay? And who knows? They may even offer their own that's publicly traded. I don't think so. I think everything they're going to offer is going to be within exchange. But you know, maybe later on in the bull market, they can have their own, you know, futures ETFs too. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of things that could come from this. But number one is Coinbase gets a huge leg up versus all the other exchanges in the U.S. And number two is this sets a little bit more clarity for us and another big middle finger to Gary Gensler. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Speaking of Ethereum futures, the very first Ethereum Futures ETF is set to launch October 12th. So, again, doesn't really relate to retail investors. Retail investors, I mean, there's no reason to be buying Bitcoin and futures ETF on the market when you can buy Bitcoin and Ether, right? But for institutions that want to get involved, we'll probably get futures ETF, Ethereum Futures ETF pretty soon in a couple of months. So just think about that. Think about it. Think about how 10 years ago or even 7 years ago, it would have been ludicrous to suggest that, you know, digital currencies created by the people out of thin air would have this much traction 7 years later. In fact, so much so that there will be futures ETFs or ETFs altogether based on these current digital currencies, right? Like, if you just think about it, like 7 years isn't too far back. If you just think about it, that's absolutely insane how much progress we've had so far with digital currencies and digital currencies being recognized as a true asset class that is accepted by mainstream, I don't know, by institutions, by just the general and public. It's crazy if you think about it. All right. Anyways, moving on. You know what? Despite the fact that Bitcoin, right, and the entire market has not done so well in August, here's the thing. People are not looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, ever since July, right, and the start of August, S&P 500 and NASDAQ has been sliding down big time. This last month, okay, we're halfway through, but, you know, we're getting closer to the end of the month. So far this month has been pretty darn horrible for an entire market. Right? I'm talking about the U.S. market, right? And Bitcoin is actually still up by 1% within this month. So if you think about it, Bitcoin is actually doing pretty good. A lot of people will say, well, Bitcoin has not moved. It's so, so boring, so sideways. Well, if you compare it to the alternative, if you have money in stocks, you would have noticed that they have gone down way more than 3.3%. That's just the average. But, even like Coinbase stock or, Microsoft stock, whatever, these big tech stocks, they're all down majorly, more than double digits so far, right? So actually Bitcoin is holding up really, really well. Same thing with Ethereum, really, really well. So sometimes boring or sideways movement is actually a good thing, okay? We take it for granted sometimes, but it's actually a pretty good thing versus everything else, right? So keep that in mind. But, we know Bitcoin is going to go higher. Hash ribbons, which is another signal. Basically, this shows whether or not hash ribbons, I believe, is miner profitability, something to do with miners. But anyways, it's flashing by. And look at the last few times the hash ribbon flashed by for Bitcoin, right? Golden opportunity to be picking up during those times. And it's the same thing right now. Every time the signal flashes by, it goes up significantly, right? So, pretty good, pretty good. We got this triangular bottom again every time, right? Bitcoin kind of goes lower and then gets back to a previous point. It can't break multiple times, right? It has this bottom inverse triangle, and then what happens? Boom, we break upwards. Right, last 2 times, 3 times this happened. We broke upwards. It's going to be no different this time around. Just got to be patient, right? And lastly, the most important metric of them all, number of people that hold over 1 Bitcoin, the whole coiners of the world, is above 1 million and continues to go above and have reached an all-time high. This metric just keeps on going up and up and up and up. People believe in Bitcoin. More and more are buying. Supply is diminishing, right? And eventually the price catches up. It's really that simple. Now, outside of Bitcoin, I did mention there's one coin that's pumping. Maybe this is the reason why the alts are selling off right now, is C. C has skyrocketed over 3,000% after being listed a day ago. Trading volume has topped $1 billion, okay? And looking at its current market cap, it's about $400 million. You can see it did peak out over here earlier today, about 27 cents. Now it's come back down to about 22 cents. It's up about 15%, but overall it's up 43% since yesterday and up 3,000% since it's been listed, right? So could this be the reason why maybe some of these market makers are selling off other alts to get involved with C? Quite possibly. It's another promising L1, well-funded by a lot of VCs. I'm still trying to get more information, whether or not what really separates them versus everyone else. But, this could be one of the reasons why some of the alts are weaker, right? So, and Zach just happens to ask, why would retail buy C after 31x pump? They're not really. I think these are more of the insiders or market makers or the exchanges that are trying to, kind of make this look good. So, or trying to load up a little bit. Yeah, but I don't think anyone's FOMOing right now. And if you guys are thinking about FOMOing, probably not. Not after a big pump. You want to let things settle down before getting involved, right? Now, the other thing that's coming out today that's supposed to be massive, and I talked about it for probably a week now, that is Shibarium, okay? Satoshi Kusama teases Shibarium. He's been teasing it. He said it's supposed to be announced during ETH Toronto. I have not heard anything come out of eToronto so far, so I don't know. This was just posted, okay? It looks pretty cool, like yeah, so, you know, it looks like a Mortal Kombat kind of thing. And basically, something big is supposed to come out today. Right around, that does look pretty cool, though. August 16, 5:35 EDT, right? Go to sheep.io. Something big is going to come out, right? It's the release of Shibarium. But I don't know. Maybe there's something else that's coming out. But yeah. But right now, you got 33 billion sheep moved from exchanges. And volume is up. Everyone's getting excited, except the price action is not so exciting right now because sheep is down. But they have been going up for this past week. So we'll see what gets announced. Maybe something huge. Maybe like, you know, some big players are going to be announced that are coming to Shibarium. They're building on, you know, maybe, for example, Uniswap, you know, maybe getting some major DEX support. Uniswap will announce that they're coming on and supporting Shibarium or something like that. You know, who knows? Who knows? All right, that is pretty much it. You know what? Look at this. You know, markets turning, hey, Dow and S&P turning upwards. So that's pretty good. We'll see what the Fed minutes say later today. But, you know, I think this is a pretty big news. So let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see. Staff sent a super sticker or super chat up on top. Thank you for that. Not a bad day to DC into alts according to Brent. That is correct. Let's see. Microsoft is now not down massive, George. It's down about $40 off his all-time high. $40 is a lot. It's a lot. So, yes, it has been coming down, along with Apple, along with all the tech for this month. Let's see here. AGIX is getting beat like a drum today. A lot of alts are, and I think it's due to C, to be honest. There's no other reason for it. Today's not like a bad day or anything. I think a lot of market makers are simply swapping out their alts for C. That's the only thing that I can come up with, right? Because if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, really didn't move, but all the other ones did. I think it's just because they're trading for C right now. I think C will eventually top out, may dump down a little bit, and then, you know, you may see the alts recover because of it. But right now, Bitcoin, I mean, it's down like $60 only versus yesterday, right? So it's not like it's across the board. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum are hardly down. The U.S. market could certainly turn upwards, and it looks like it does want to. NASDAQ is still red, but we'll see what the Fed minutes say. Unless the Fed minutes say something horrible in there, which I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be nothing new out of it, right? Hey, maybe we get a good recovery second half of today. Gooska 100. George, today I'm a whole coiner. Thanks to you, my friend. Congratulations. Now you are part of this graph right here that keeps on growing. Number of addresses holding at least one coin. at 1,014,109. So now you have joined. You have joined this exclusive club. So congratulations. Everyone that's chiming in or joining right now saying, why is the market dumping? It's really not. It's not dumping. Alts are dumping. Bitcoin and Ethereum are not. And the U.S. market is a little weak, but certainly not dumping. Okay, so everyone chill. It's a good time to do DCA. But I think C has something to do with the alts being weak today because it just listed a lot of pumping, 3,000% pump since its listing. So I think that has a lot to do with it. There could be some retail FOMO, retail people selling off to buy C, which would be a mistake at this point. After pumping us so much, you don't want to buy in at a local top, right? Like you always want to let things settle down. Did you hear about a Bank of Ireland hack? I cannot use my bank account. No. No, I have not heard that. What do you think about the Superchain Supernet narrative that Polygon Optimism have? I don't know what you mean by that. I really don't, because Optimism is just a layer 2. I don't know what other super chain or super narrative. Polygon 2 is just really, it's a new token that's meant to be used in their variety of chains. Yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about. Your thoughts on Cardano FUD on Charles Reed tweet? I don't know. I don't know what FUD. I'm not going to pull it up. I don't want to talk about FUD if there is FUD. Jeremy, good morning, good day. Been watching since 2019. Thank you. And good morning, good day to you as well. Tyler, you kept spamming that yesterday. You need to stop, okay? There's no super chat AI bots becoming sentiment, okay? Whatever you're falling for, okay, please stop spamming the same thing over and over again. Am I maxi now? No. Why do people think I'm a maxi just because I said Bitcoin and Ethereum have not gone down, but alts have gone down? Did I hear about the Arbitrum drop in March, which is 98% of supply? Yes, I did. That's coming in March in 2024, so there's still some time. That's 4 months from now. But Arbitrum has these huge unlock schedules coming up, and the next one is going to be absolutely huge. So up until that point, I would say, yeah, probably it's definitely going to have an effect on price. So you do with that information. How do you say it? you do what you must with that information, something like that, right? So that unlock schedule coming in March is going to be absolutely huge. George, is it a good idea to buy call options on crypto stocks expiration date around halving event? You know what I do, but you know it's still very risky, right? With call options, it's the time is the factor. So, you know, if you if you buy it around like, you know, halving event time, right? And also options on crypto stocks, there's not that many. I mean, really outside of Coinbase, all the other ones, there's not that much volume. But yeah, it makes sense, that, you know, it would trend up around the halving event, but who knows? Maybe it takes a few months afterwards. It probably will before you see a huge price effect, you know, price jump. Maybe there's some other disaster that comes out. I'm just throwing examples, right? There's no certainty. It's not like 100%. There may be some kind of all other catalyst that drives things down, right? That's the only problem in call options is, yeah, you can multiply your money, but it's based on time. So if time runs out, it becomes worthless. People keep worrying about USD comparison to BTC. Yeah, eventually that's not going to be compared, but, you know, that's still far ways off. But I get your point. That is true. Will the first Fed meeting in 2024 be the most important meeting? Will it determine if we exceed the target rate or stay the same? I mean, yes and no. It could be the first. It could be the second. I mean, there's no... Yeah, let's just put it that way. What do you think about ThorChain? They launched their loan feature soon, and the short squeeze seems to be happening. It has been. I just covered it recently. It's been going up like 60%, 65% recently, right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Thor is like one that I don't think anyone pays attention to, and I have not been. They're a liquidity provider for, you know, for multiple coins and I guess chains, right? They're like just one big liquidity provider. So their loan feature, I don't know. There's a lot of decentralized lending companies out there, liquidity providers. So I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be massive. I don't know. Like if you're like a huge DeFi guy, I guess you would be very interested in something like that. But I don't take out loans. I don't put down my crypto as collateral. You know, I think it's just way too risky to be doing that. So I mean, that's why not something that I particularly get excited about. But you know, if you hold on Rune and it's been up 60% for the last week or so. Good, congratulations. It's actually not too far off from its previous high, I think. It's 500 million market cap. Still pretty big. John Wick asks, your next Black Swan prediction? I don't know. Probably something I can't even think of. Like if the bond market falls and collapses or something, and I don't even understand why it would, but let's say it did. Maybe something like that. A lot of people are predicting a housing market crash. I just don't see that. The supply is still so limited. People do not want to let go of their sub 3% mortgage rates. So I don't know. And the job market in the U.S. is still strong. Unemployment is still low. No reason for massive foreclosures. So housing market, I don't see. I mean, maybe another war breaks out. If somehow China goes and attacks Taiwan and the U.S. is pulled into a war like that, maybe that would be another Black Swan event. But outside of like a huge war, I don't see it. Coin is up. That's good. Coin is up because of this. But like Mara and Hut are down today. We'll see. After the Fed minutes, the market could certainly turn up in a big way. There's no real reason for things to go down other than Target is having less, you know, Target is having less sales, but I think it's today it's just about the Fed minutes, waiting for that to release. And the Fed minutes sometime this afternoon. Usually it's after, I think it's like 1 or 2 o'clock, something like that. All right. To call it a day, today, Bitcoin, Ethereum, holding steady, down slightly. But the big news of the day is Coinbase, of course, being granted Bitcoin and futures, Bitcoin and Ethereum futures in the U.S. That's actually pretty big news. Not only for them, but a big FU to Gary Gensler and SEC. Shibarium is going to have their big announcement tonight. We'll see what happens. I would stay away from C right now. There's a lot of pumping. But if you're a Bitcoin, if you're holding on Bitcoin, keep holding, keep accumulating, keep DCAing. Great things are coming. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.